This week's Sedra is Chayei Sarah, translated as the life of Sarah, and in fact it's about the death of Sarah. Sarah dies, Avrohom tries to find a burial spot for his wife, and he speaks to someone called Avrohom ben Sochar. Avrohom ben Sochar says, you know what, we love you so much, you can have this piece of land for free, you can have it. Oh, by the way, it's worth a lot of money, it's worth millions, but for you, you can have it for free. Avrohom got the idea and he said, right, let me just pay you that money. And everyone said, glad you got the idea, thank you very much. He said he was going to do a lot, and in fact he did totally the opposite. Then the Sedra carries on, and it talks about that Avrohom wants to find a wife for his son Yitzchak. And he gets his trusted servant Eliezer. He says to Eliezer, please, I want you to go and find the right wife for my son. I trust you. You will find the right person. Eliezer takes Avrohom's 10 camels and he goes off and he looks for a wife for Avrohom's son Yitzchak. And he says, you know what? I know the perfect thing we're looking for in a wife, and that is she a giver? So he comes up with an experiment. He says, I'm going to sit by the well, and if someone says, I'm going to give this person, this stranger, water and the camels, then she is the one. And as soon as he said that, boom, comes along Rivka, Avrohom. She comes with a jug and says, oh, would you like some water? Yes. Would your camels like some water? Yeah. And then he waits until she finishes, and then ta-da! Well done, you are star prize over here. You get to win a Yitzchak. Question is, what was it about this test, and why was he actually waiting for her to finish the job? Once she said, I'll give the camels, just say, ta-da, you're the winner. Why did he wait till the end? Beautiful idea, beautiful. Rivka has a jug, and she wants to be able to fill up with water. She fills up with water. Comes along a stranger who's just been on quite a long journey. You can imagine he's sweaty. You can imagine he's stinky. And you can imagine, you know, here comes the guy. He's like, can I please? Yes. I don't so dry. And he's just been traveling in a hot desert. And she says, sure, very kind. And so he takes some water from the jug. Thank you, and gives the jug back to her. What's she gonna do now? She's got one of two options. She can either say, okay, great, ew, germs, chuck it in front of him, or she can now take the rest of the water back to her family. If she was to go, germs, that could offend someone. What, my germs aren't good enough for the likes of you? Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not so dainty as you are. So what's the alternative? Now take jug of water, which could have coronavirus and you could have anything inside it, and now take it back home. That also would not be a wise thing to do. What you really want to do is somehow get rid of the water in a way that doesn't embarrass the person who you just given the water to. There's only one way to do that. You know what? Let me give the water to your camels. Now, if she was to pour this jug and just give it to the camels, just one jug, and then say, okay, I've done my job. No. I can see through that over there. I understand, right. You just gave it to my camels so as not to offend me, but really what it is actually is you don't want my germs. You don't like my germs. Oh, I'm not good enough for the likes of you. And therefore the only way to go through with it, if you're going to say that you're going to feed your camels, you're going to have to go all the way and feed not just one camel, but because why one more than the other? You have to feed all 10 camels. And now Eliezer wants to see, is she really going to go through with what she said? Really? Is she going to do it? And she did. But just by the way, do you realize how much water we're talking about? How much water do you think a camel actually needs? The answer is OMG.
What?
So the question was, is she going to go all the way to the end? Is she going to do what she says she's going to do? Only once she actually went all the way through and actually fed the last camel all the water. Then Eliezer says, you're the one. When we set out, we say we're going to be able to do a kindness. Do we always take it all the way through? you know what? I'm going to deal with the shopping. Do you really deal with the shopping all the way? Or do you just actually dump it by the front door? Or do you take the stuff out and put it in the fridge? Do you actually now finish it off? You know what? I'm going to give a lift to someone. Do you just take them to the end of the road, or do you actually take them to their house? Do you finish off what you say you're going to do? What are the contrasts between Rivka and Avrohom ben Sochar? Avrohom ben Sochar says, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it to you for free, and no problem at all. In the end, he charged an absolute bomb, an absolute fortune, as opposed to when it comes to Rivka. She doesn't say she's going to do that much. Originally, would you like to have a drink? And then it goes further with that. And she saw it through to the end. When we're doing kindnesses, when we're giving to other people, see it through to the end. It's easy to set out with a, oh, I'd love to be able to do this. I got a great project I want to be able to do. Oh, wouldn't it be great? It's easy to begin with. The question is, do you see it through to the end? Make sure that our giving starts with enthusiasm, but goes all the way to the very end. Until next week, be great, be a giver, see it to the end, and Shabbat Shalom.